You are walking through a quiet ancient city long after the busy day has faded into stillness. The streets are made of smooth stone, worn by centuries of footsteps. The soft breeze drifts through narrow alleyways, carrying the faint scent of water and earth. Somewhere in the distance, a fountain murmurs quietly. Its sound gentle and steady, like breathing. Shadows stretch softly across walls, and the warm light of the setting sun touches every carved doorway and every small courtyard with a golden glow. The city feels alive, yet nothing moves in a hurry. Everything has a place, and every system works quietly, so life continues without disruption. Hey, tonight we are going to drift gently backward through time, to explore the hidden engineering that kept ancient cities peaceful and clean. For the next little while, we will wander through streets where water flows quietly in channels, through baths tucked into quiet corners, through hidden sewers beneath the stone, and across plazas where fountains murmur softly, all working together to maintain order and comfort. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you right now. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from all around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that gentle background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The houses are modest, made of warm stone and wood, with small courtyards tucked behind low doors. In the courtyards, herbs grow in neat rows, and tiny gardens shimmer with morning dew. Water flows in shallow channels along the edges of the streets, sliding quietly over smooth stones, curving gently around corners, slipping under doorways without a sound. No puddle lingers. The streets remain clean, though most people never notice the work happening beneath their feet. Baths sit quietly in hidden corners, their pools calm and still, reflecting the gentle rhythm of daily life. Clay jars are lifted carefully from wells, filled with clear water, used for cooking, washing, and tending small gardens. Even the sewers beneath the streets carry their loads silently, removing what is no longer needed, so life above can continue smoothly, quietly, and comfortably. The air is faintly scented with baked bread, with herbs drying in the sun, and sometimes with damp earth after a gentle rain. Every detail, however small, has its place. Every hidden system works without notice, so the city remains peaceful, orderly, and clean. Children play softly in courtyards, their laughter blending with the murmur of fountains and the distant steps of neighbors returning home. Sunlight falls gently across carved stone, catching the edges of wooden shutters and shimmering on the surface of water in basins. Even the busiest moments carry calm, as people move slowly and deliberately, aware of the quiet harmony that surrounds them. As evening arrives, lamps are lit along the streets, their glow warm against stone walls. Shadows lengthen, and the soft hum of the city becomes even gentler. A bird perches on a roof, ruffles its feathers, and surveys the streets below with quiet watchfulness. The city breathes slowly, its rhythm steady and unhurried, and you move through it at the same gentle pace, absorbing the calm that the hidden systems create. The aqueducts rise quietly outside the city walls, arches stretching in gentle curves across fields and valleys, carrying water from distant springs. The flow is slow, measured, sliding through channels carved carefully into stone, fed by small reservoirs that keep it steady and clean. This water nourishes gardens, fills fountains, and keeps the streets free of dust and debris. It is an invisible system, yet it shapes every moment of daily life. Beneath the arches of the aqueduct, the water moves quietly, sliding over worn stone and through narrow channels carved for centuries. Alongside the water, small pathways wind gently, used by workers who maintain the system. Though most people never notice them at all, the streets below remain orderly, free of clutter, their stones polished smooth by countless footsteps over generations. In quiet corners, fountains bubble softly, their water glinting in the sun, offering a gentle place for reflection or conversation. Every home has access to these channels, whether through a basin in the courtyard or a carefully lifted jar from a nearby well. The baths, tucked into hidden courtyards, are calm spaces where water gathers in shallow pools, Heated by simple fires or warmed naturally by the sun, people enter slowly, deliberately, their movements unhurried, their voices soft, blending with the sound of flowing water. Even the smallest streets carry a sense of care, as if each stone has been placed with thought and each channel carefully measured to keep water flowing smoothly. Markets hum gently during the day, though the sounds are never harsh. Vendors arrange their goods with care. Baskets of fruit, bundles of herbs, and small clay pots lined in neat, orderly rows. The scent of fresh bread mingles with herbs drying in the sun, and the occasional whisper of water from a nearby fountain adds a gentle rhythm to the daily bustle. Children move quietly between the stalls, their laughter soft and measured, their games blending naturally with the calm of the city. The sewers beneath the streets carry waste away silently, their design subtle but precise, ensuring that streets remain clean and homes remain comfortable. Stone channels and narrow drains lead rainwater smoothly into larger systems, avoiding puddles and mud and keeping life above uninterrupted. Gardens tucked behind homes flourish quietly, fed by channels from wells and aqueducts, their flowers and herbs growing in neat rows, their green leaves glistening with dew in the morning light. Wooden shutters creak softly in the breeze, and the faint sound of water trickling through basins fills the air with a rhythm that is calming. Steady, familiar. Even the busiest parts of the city never feel hurried or chaotic. Every movement, every sound, every stone and channel works together to maintain order and peace. At the edge of the city, the walls rise smoothly, their stones worn by wind and sun, yet carefully aligned to protect the life within. Along the walls, small gardens bloom quietly, and fountains add their gentle murmurs to the calm rhythm that flows through the streets. Every detail, every hidden system, from aqueducts to baths, from wells to sewers, exists to create a life that is smooth, gentle, and balanced. Even as night falls, the city continues quietly. Lamps are lit one by one, casting a soft glow on stone walls and cobbled streets. The air grows cooler, carrying the faint scent of earth and water. Shadows stretch and lengthen, softening the edges of every building, every archway, every street. In the quiet of the evening, people move slowly, deliberately, voices low, steps measured, blending seamlessly with the murmur of water and the soft rustle of leaves. The fountains continue their gentle song. The aqueducts still carry water across arches, and the sewers beneath move silently, unseen, ensuring that life above remains calm, clean, and orderly. Even as the city sleeps, the systems continue their quiet work. Water flows, drains carry away, and the streets remain smooth and ready, welcoming the day to come without disorder or rush. The city is alive in its gentle way, its rhythm unhurried, its life continuous, its order maintained without need for attention. The baths are tucked away behind stone walls, quiet and calm, their pools filled with water drawn carefully from nearby wells and channels. The surfaces of the baths glisten softly in the sunlight, and the faint scent of warm stone mingles with water, creating a sense of calm before even stepping inside. People enter slowly, removing shoes and cloaks, their movements deliberate and unhurried. The water laps gently against the edges of the pool, its surface smooth except for the occasional ripple from a careful step. Some sit quietly, letting the warmth of the water ease their limbs, while others pour water over themselves, using small clay vessels, following a rhythm that has existed for generations. The baths are not only for cleanliness, but for quiet conversation, for reflection, for soft moments shared among neighbors, friends, and family. Even the benches along the walls are carefully arranged, so that every visitor can have space, yet still be part of the gentle flow of life within the bathhouse. Outside the baths, streets continue in their quiet rhythm. Narrow alleys lead to homes, courtyards, and small workshops. In these workshops, artisans work slowly, shaping clay, carving wood, or weaving textiles. Each movement careful, precise, measured. The air is faintly scented with the materials they use, softly blending with the aromas of bread and herbs from nearby homes and markets. Markets themselves are orderly, their stalls arranged with care along wide streets in small squares. Goods are displayed neatly, fruits stacked in gentle pyramids, herbs tied into bundles, clay pots lined in soft rows, each item placed with attention, ensuring both beauty and ease of access. Shoppers move slowly among the stalls, their steps quiet on the cobbled streets, their hands brushing gently over goods, pausing to select what is needed. And the vendors respond in soft tones, never hurried, never loud. Water continues to flow through channels beside the streets, keeping dust settled and surfaces clean, and small drains at every corner guide runoff silently away. Even waste is managed carefully. Sewers beneath the streets carry away what is no longer needed, their slopes calculated so water flows naturally, without stagnation, without smell, maintaining the city's cleanliness and comfort. Gardens, tucked behind homes and along walls, flourish quietly. Water from wells or small channels nourishes flowers and herbs, and the morning sun makes leaves glisten with dew. These gardens are private and shared spaces alike, offering both sustenance and beauty to those who pass by. At every doorway, a basin may hold clean water, ready for washing hands or filling clay jars. The sound of dripping water is soft and rhythmic, blending seamlessly with the distant murmur of fountains and the quiet shuffle of feet on stone streets. Even at the edges of the city, life remains gentle. Animals move quietly through courtyards, their steps careful on the stones. Small birds hop along ledges, ruffling feathers and calling softly to one another. The walls of the city rise steadily, their stones carefully aligned, protecting the spaces within, yet blending naturally with the rhythm of daily life. Every element is part of a larger system, though most people never notice the careful planning behind it. Aqueducts bring water from distant sources. Fountains and channels distribute it slowly and evenly. Baths, basins, and wells make it accessible to all. Sewers and drains remove what is no longer needed. Streets remain smooth and clean. Life flows quietly, naturally, continuously. As evening approaches, lamps are lit in courtyards and along streets. Their warm glow touches every surface, casting gentle shadows that stretch across stones and walls. The air cools slightly, carrying the faint scent of earth, water, and herbs. Fountains continue their soft murmurs, echoing quietly through alleys and plazas, reminding everyone of the steady, unseen systems at work. People move at a slower pace now, their steps deliberate, their voices low, blending naturally with the rhythm of water, wind, and distant animal calls. Children return home from small evening errands, their laughter soft, fading quickly as they enter courtyards. Even in the quietest corners of the city, life is maintained carefully, smoothly, without disruption, so that each day can begin again in calm and order. The aqueducts carry water across the city, arches rising gracefully over fields and small roads, their stones polished smooth by centuries of careful construction. Water moves steadily through channels carved into stone, flowing slowly and quietly, its presence felt in gardens, fountains, and basins, yet never loud, never intrusive. Small reservoirs along the way hold the water in gentle pools, allowing it to settle before continuing onward. These reservoirs reflect the sky and the sun, their surfaces shimmering like glass in the early morning. The streets below remain orderly, their stones set carefully, so that even the smallest rains flow smoothly into drains, and the city remains clean without any effort from those walking above. Homes line the streets in neat rows, each with its small courtyard, its carefully placed basin, its hidden channel feeding flowers and herbs. People move slowly, deliberately, lifting clay jars from wells, pouring water over themselves or into vessels for cooking. Every motion is gentle, measured, familiar. Baths in secluded courtyards are calm spaces where water gathers in shallow pools reflecting sunlight, stone, and wood. Visitors enter quietly, allowing the warmth and stillness of the water to ease their bodies and minds. Even the smallest courtyards have channels for water, so rain or washing never lingers in puddles, and each step across stone remains dry and smooth. Markets are calm, even in the busiest hours, as vendors arrange fruits, herbs, and clay pots with care. The air is softly scented with bread baking, herbs drying, and the faint perfume of flowers and gardens nearby. Children move among the stalls with quiet steps, their laughter soft and fleeting, mixing naturally with the gentle murmur of water and stone. Workshops occupy small spaces along the streets, where artisans carve wood, shape clay, or weave textiles. Each movement is slow and precise, contributing to the rhythm of the city without ever disturbing the calm that surrounds it. Sewers beneath the streets carry away waste quietly, their slopes designed so water flows naturally. The systems are hidden but essential, keeping streets, homes, and courtyards free of odor or mess. Gardens tucked behind homes flourish quietly, fed by water from wells and channels. Herbs and flowers grow in neat rows, and their leaves glisten softly with morning dew. Wooden shutters creak gently in the breeze, and basins of water drip quietly, blending seamlessly with fountains and the occasional rustle of leaves. Even the busiest corners of the city carry a sense of order. Every stone, every channel, every detail works together to maintain life in calm and balance. Walls rise smoothly at the edges of the city, their stones carefully aligned to protect inhabitants. Gardens bloom along these walls, and small fountains add their gentle murmurs to the rhythm of life. Every system, seen and unseen, exists to maintain harmony. Water flows where it is needed, streets remain clean, waste is carried away quietly, and life moves in gentle, unhurried patterns. Even as night falls, the lamps glow softly, casting a warm light across stone and wood. Shadows stretch long and calm, softening the edges of every doorway and courtyard. The city breathes slowly. Its rhythm is steady, unhurried, and you move through it at the same gentle pace, absorbing the quiet harmony that surrounds you. Fountains continue their gentle song. The aqueducts carry water across arches, and the sewers beneath still flow silently, maintaining the city's cleanliness and calm. People move slowly along streets and alleys, voices low, footsteps measured, blending naturally with the soft murmur of water and wind. Children return home, their laughter soft and fleeting, and the city continues its gentle work, so that each day begins again in calm, order, and quiet balance. At the center of the city, a large fountain stands quietly in a plaza, its water spilling in soft arcs from carved stone. The sound is steady, rhythmic, almost like a slow heartbeat, blending with the faint rustle of leaves in nearby trees. Around the fountain, people gather without haste, some washing their hands, some pausing to fill a small jar, and others simply resting on the stone benches, watching the water move with calm attention. The aqueducts that supply this fountain stretch far beyond the city, arched and steady across hills and fields, bringing water from distant springs with careful precision. Channels are carved at just the right angle, so that water flows continuously, neither too fast nor too slow, reaching each home, each bath, each garden in perfect rhythm. The streets are lined with narrow gutters, stone-lined channels that guide rainwater quietly away, preventing puddles from forming, and keeping every corner of the city smooth and dry. Hidden beneath, the sewers work silently, taking what is no longer needed and carrying it to the outskirts of the city, so that life above can continue without interruption. Every courtyard has its own small system, a basin, a channel, a small well, all carefully placed to keep water moving gently, nourishing gardens, cleaning surfaces, and maintaining the balance of daily life. Homes are modest, yet perfectly suited to their needs. Rooms are arranged around courtyards, doors open onto narrow alleys or quiet streets, and small gardens grow where the sun can reach them. The smell of herbs, bread, and earth drifts gently through open windows, adding a subtle richness to the calm of the city. Workshops hum quietly with the movements of artisans. A potter shapes clay on a wheel, hands steady and careful, while woodworkers carve with slow, deliberate motions. Even the rhythm of their labor seems to mirror the flow of water in the aqueducts above. Marketplaces are ordered, not crowded. Vendors display their goods carefully. Fruits in gentle pyramids, bundles of herbs tied neatly, small clay jars and pottery aligned in soft rows. Shoppers move calmly, hands brushing lightly over the goods, pausing only to choose what they need. Children weave between stalls, their laughter soft and fleeting, mixing naturally with the quiet sound of water channels and distant voices. Gardens flourish behind walls and along streets, watered by small channels that carry fresh water from wells or aqueducts. Herbs and flowers grow in neat, deliberate rows, their leaves glistening with dew in the morning, and their fragrance blending softly with the scents of bread, wood, and earth. Even the edges of the city are orderly. Walls rise smoothly, built from carefully aligned stones, protecting homes and courtyards, while gardens and fountains bloom quietly along their bases. Every detail has been thought of. Every system, whether visible or hidden, exists to maintain harmony. Water flows where it is needed. Streets remain clean. Waste is carried away quietly, and life continues gently, naturally, without interruption. As evening falls, lamps glow along streets and in courtyards, casting warm light on stones, wood, and water. Shadows stretch long and soft, blurring the edges of every building, every archway, every fountain. The city breathes slowly, its rhythm unhurried, continuous, and every step you take matches its calm pace. Fountains continue to murmur. Aqueducts still carry water across distant arches, and sewers beneath move silently, ensuring the city remains orderly and comfortable. People return home in the evening, steps measured, voices low, blending naturally with the soft sounds of water, wind, and animals. Children finish their small tasks, curling into quiet corners, their laughter fading into the calm of the city. Even in the quietest corners, life is maintained carefully, smoothly, gently, so that each new day can begin with the same peaceful rhythm, the same order, the same balance that has existed for generations. The rhythm of water, stone, and daily life continues, unnoticed by most, yet shaping every moment, every street, every courtyard, and every home, allowing the city to exist as a gentle, living system of peace, order, and quiet comfort. The aqueducts stretch gently beyond the city walls, arches rising and falling with soft elegance across hills and valleys. Water moves steadily within them, never rushing, never stagnant, carried with quiet precision from distant springs. Small reservoirs hold the water in gentle pools along the way, allowing it to settle before continuing onward. The surface glimmers softly in sunlight, mirroring the sky and clouds above. Its reflection, calm, steady, and serene. The channels within the aqueducts are carved carefully, so water flows evenly to fountains, baths, and homes. Even the smallest courtyard receives its share, its basin filled, its garden nourished, without anyone needing to intervene. In the city, the streets remain smooth and clean. Rainwater flows quietly into narrow gutters, and hidden drains guide it toward larger channels. Puddles do not linger, mud rarely forms, and the careful design ensures every step on stone is comfortable. Beneath the streets, the sewers work without attention, carrying away what is no longer needed. Silent, hidden, yet essential. The people above never notice, but their daily lives are shaped entirely by these quiet systems. Courtyards are small worlds unto themselves, each with a basin, a channel, or a tiny well. Water trickles gently, nourishing herbs and flowers, polishing stone surfaces, and maintaining order without effort. The baths are serene spaces, their pools reflecting stone walls, wooden doors, and the warm light of the sun filtering through open windows. Visitors enter softly, moving slowly, deliberately, their bodies eased by the warmth of water, their voices low, blending with the steady murmur of the fountains. Even workshops follow this rhythm. Artisans carve, shape, and weave with careful attention, hands moving with gentle precision. The faint sounds of their labor blend naturally with the trickling water, the soft rustle of leaves, and the occasional footstep of someone passing on a cobbled street. Markets remain orderly, their stalls arranged with thoughtful care. Fruits are stacked in neat, gentle pyramids, herbs tied in soft bundles, clay jars lined up like tiny sentinels. all creating a sense of calm structure. Shoppers move slowly among the stalls, their fingers brushing lightly over goods, pausing to choose what they need. Vendors respond in soft tones, their movements measured and deliberate, keeping the flow of the market gentle and uninterrupted. Children weave quietly between stalls, their laughter soft, almost blending with the murmur of water and the faint shuffle of feet on stone. Gardens flourish behind walls and along streets, their herbs and flowers thriving on water, carefully delivered through channels and basins. Leaves glisten with dew in the morning light, and fragrances mix subtly with bread, wood, and earth, creating a calm, familiar atmosphere. The walls at the edge of the city rise smoothly, their stones aligned to perfection, offering protection without harshness. Along the base, small gardens and fountains add life and beauty, softening the line between protection and comfort. Every hidden system supports daily life. Aqueducts bring water, channels distribute it, sewers remove what is no longer needed, and streets, homes, and courtyards remain clean, comfortable, and calm. As evening descends, lamps glow softly across streets and courtyards, casting gentle light on stone, wood, and water. Shadows stretch long, smoothing the edges of the city, blending buildings, walls, and trees into one soft vision. People move slowly through the streets, steps careful, voices low, blending naturally with the quiet hum of water and wind. Children finish their small chores and curl quietly into corners, their laughter fading softly. Animals move gently across courtyards. Pigeons perch quietly on rooftops, and the city continues its invisible work, maintaining calm, order, and quiet comfort through the night. Fountains murmur their steady song. Aqueducts still carry water across arches, and sewers flow silently beneath the stones. Even in the deepest night, every system continues its gentle task, allowing life to proceed without interruption, so that each morning begins again in perfect calm and quiet harmony. Inside the homes, water moves quietly through narrow clay pipes hidden within walls and beneath floors. Small basins receive it in kitchens and courtyards, where hands are washed, vegetables are cleaned, and simple tasks unfold in calm, practiced motions. Women move slowly through shaded rooms preparing bread, herbs, and grains. The sound of water touching stone is soft and rhythmic, accompanying the quiet scrape of knives on wood and the gentle crackle of fire in clay ovens. Steam rises faintly, drifting toward open windows, mixing with sunlight and the scent of gardens outside. In private baths, water fills stone tubs, warm and still, reflecting tiled walls and wooden ceilings. People sit quietly, letting warmth loosen muscles and thoughts. Drops fall back into the pool with small circular ripples, each ripple fading before the next one forms. Underneath these rooms, narrow drains guide used water away. They join larger channels, which curve gently under streets and plazas, carrying everything toward distant treatment pools beyond the city. There, water settles again, passing through layers of sand and stone, slowly becoming clear enough to return to gardens and fields. Beyond the walls, irrigation channels branch across farmland. Water spreads across terraces and fields, touching roots of trees and crops with equal care. Farmers walk slowly along the channels, adjusting small gates carved from wood and stone, guiding the flow with quiet expertise. Trees stand in ordered lines, their leaves shimmering in sunlight, their fruit hanging heavy and still. The soil remains dark and moist, never flooded, never dry, measured by the patient movement of water. Back in the city, workshops continue their quiet rhythm. Metalworkers polish tools, potters shape clay on spinning wheels, weavers guide threads through looms in steady patterns. Water sits in bowls beside them, keeping materials workable, hands clean, and dust low. In libraries and study rooms, scholars sit near fountains. The gentle sound helps focus, each trickle marking time without pressure. Scrolls and tablets rest on smooth tables, ink and tools arranged with precise care. In small classrooms, children learn letters and numbers. Their voices are soft, their movements deliberate, and the water nearby keeps the air cool and clear. In gardens, caretakers prune branches, adjust channels, and brush fallen petals from stone paths. Water flows through narrow grooves in the pavement, creating delicate lines that guide footsteps and sight. As the sun moves lower, shadows lengthen across rooftops. The city's systems respond without command. Valves open slightly, reservoirs adjust their levels, and channels redirect flow to where evening use increases. People gather in courtyards for meals. Bowls and cups are washed in shared basins, and water flows away quietly, never pooling, never wasted. Conversation is calm, laughter gentle, and the presence of water keeps the air cool, even as the day ends. As night deepens, lanterns reflect on pools and channels. The surface of the water becomes a dark mirror, holding tiny points of light like distant stars. Guards walk along the walls, their footsteps echoing softly, while fountains continue their steady whisper. Under the city, channels and tunnels remain active, water gliding through stone corridors, turning wheels, cooling chambers, and supporting hidden mechanisms that keep everything stable. The city does not sleep. It breathes slowly, with water as its pulse, and in the quietest hours, when streets are empty and lamps burn low, the systems continue their endless cycle, preparing the city for another day of calm, order, and uninterrupted life. Far from the main avenues, narrow alleys stretch between homes built of brick, stone, and timber. These passageways are shaded for most of the day, their walls cool to the touch, their air gently moving with subtle currents guided by careful design. Small openings near the ground allow fresh air to enter, while higher vents release warm air upward, creating a quiet circulation that keeps rooms comfortable without any visible effort. Residents often do not think about it, yet they feel its presence in the steady coolness of their homes, in the absence of heavy odors, in the softness of the air against their skin. Courtyards sit at the center of many houses. Here, a shallow pool reflects the sky, and a single tree grows from a square of soil framed by stone. Water flows into the pool through a small carved spout, and then disappears into a drain at the far edge, beginning another gentle journey beneath the city. Birds gather near the pools. Their quiet movements ripple the surface, and their soft calls echo between walls. Children sit on the stone edges, dangling their hands in the water, watching tiny insects skim across the surface. In the early morning, residents open shutters slowly. Light filters through carved wooden screens, breaking into patterns across floors and walls. The air feels fresh, as if the city has been rinsed during the night. Street cleaners move through the avenues with brooms and baskets. They pour water along the stone channels that line the roads, and the water carries dust and debris toward hidden drains. The streets remain bright and clear, their surfaces worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. Markets awaken without urgency. Vendors arrange fruits, grains, textiles, and tools. Water is kept in ceramic jars to wash hands and produce. Small channels run beneath stalls, so that spilled water never lingers, never turns to mud, never disrupts the quiet order of the place. Nearby, public baths open their doors. Visitors enter through shaded corridors, moving from cool rooms to warmer chambers, their footsteps echoing softly on stone. Steam rises gently from pools, curling toward domed ceilings with small openings that let light and air pass through. The water here is warm and still. People sit in silence or speak in low voices, letting the warmth soothe tired limbs. Attendants quietly rinse floors and benches, and the water disappears into drains that lead toward treatment pools beyond the city walls. In temples and places of worship, water plays a quiet role. Basins stand near entrances for ritual washing. Fountains flow in inner courtyards, their sound encouraging calm reflection. Priests and visitors alike pause beside these waters, feeling the steady rhythm of the city's unseen systems. Beyond the sacred spaces, workshops cluster along canals. Water wheels turn slowly, powered by gentle currents guided through carved channels. These wheels lift water to higher terraces, or power simple machinery used by artisans. Millers grind grain with the help of flowing streams. Tanner's rinse hides in controlled basins far from residential areas, their runoff guided through special channels to avoid contaminating living spaces. Dyers mix pigments in vats filled from carefully managed reservoirs, ensuring that colors remain consistent and waste remains contained. The city planners long ago separated different kinds of water. Clean drinking water flows in one set of pipes. Used household water travels in another. Rainwater follows its own path. Guided from rooftops into cisterns and gardens, wastewater moves through deeper tunnels, settling in ponds and filtering through sand and soil before returning to fields. This separation keeps illness rare. People drink without fear. Children play near fountains without concern. Gardens flourish without contamination. In schools, teachers explain simple principles of flow and balance. Students learn how slopes guide water, how valves control direction, how reservoirs maintain pressure. They practice with small models made of clay and wood, watching miniature streams trace quiet paths across tiny landscapes. On rooftops, rainwater collectors sit quietly. Tiles guide droplets toward gutters, and gutters lead to storage jars and underground tanks. During storms, the city does not flood. Water is welcomed, absorbed, redirected, and stored for drier times. As seasons change, engineers adjust gates and channels. In dry months, reservoirs release stored water slowly. In wet months, overflow basins catch excess flow. The city remains balanced, neither parched nor submerged. Gardens thrive in courtyards, public parks, and temple grounds. Trees provide shade along avenues. Herb beds release faint fragrances when watered. Fountains keep insects away and air cool. In quieter neighborhoods, elderly residents sit beside small channels, watching water move past their homes. They remember when new pipes were laid, when streets were rebuilt with smoother slopes, when new cisterns were added beneath the plaza. Their memories flow like the water itself, steady and unhurried. Children grow up assuming the city has always been this way. They do not imagine a time when water was carried in buckets for long distances, or when streets were dusty and foul. For them, clean water and fresh air are simply part of daily life. At dusk, lamps are lit along canals and reservoirs. Reflections shimmer on still surfaces. The sound of flowing water becomes more noticeable as human activity quiets. In administrative halls, city stewards review records of water levels and maintenance schedules. They note sediment buildup, minor leaks, and seasonal adjustments. Teams of workers quietly handle repairs during low traffic hours, so that daily life is never disturbed. Under bridges, fish move slowly through clear channels. Some canals are wide enough for small boats carrying goods. Others are narrow, designed only for utility and drainage. Each has a purpose. Each fits into the larger network like a vein in a living body. Beyond the city, fields extend toward the horizon. Water reaches them through aqueducts that span valleys and cross hills. Stone arches rise in gentle curves, supporting channels that guide water across great distances without interruption. Farmers depend on this flow. They schedule planting and harvesting according to the steady rhythm of irrigation. Crops grow evenly, and harvests are predictable. The stability of food and water creates peace. People do not fight over wells or streams. Communities cooperate to maintain infrastructure. Disputes are rare, and when they arise, they are settled quietly by elders and officials. Water also shapes social life. Public fountains become gathering places. Bathhouses serve as centers for conversation. Gardens offer quiet spaces for reflection. The city's engineering quietly supports not only hygiene and agriculture, but also culture, learning, and harmony. As night deepens, rooftops cool, courtyards fill with soft shadows, and water continues its slow movement through pipes and channels. The systems are ancient, yet they feel timeless. Stone, clay, wood, and metal work together, guided by gravity and human understanding. Some engineers walk through tunnels with lanterns, listening for unusual sounds, checking flow markers, touching walls to feel for leaks. Their work is quiet, often unnoticed, yet essential. In distant chambers, large cisterns hold vast volumes of water. Their surfaces are dark and still, broken only by occasional ripples as fresh water enters. Echoes linger in these underground spaces, and the air is cool and calm. Above them, life continues without awareness of the reservoirs below. People sleep, dream, and rise again, supported by systems that never rest. In the early hours before dawn, mist sometimes forms above open canals. It drifts across gardens and streets, softening edges and quieting sound. The city feels suspended in time, held gently by the slow pulse of water. And so, day after day, season after season, century after century, these hidden networks keep cities peaceful, clean, and balanced, without spectacle, without urgency, without disruption. They are simply there, flowing, supporting, and sustaining life in a calm and continuous rhythm. In quiet corridors beneath the streets, water glides through carved stone passages, its movement slow, steady, almost thoughtful. The walls are smooth from centuries of flow, their surfaces cool to the touch, their curves shaped by patient hands long ago. Small lamps flicker along maintenance paths, casting soft light across arches and columns, creating shadows that stretch and fade without urgency. Above ground, households settle into stillness. Clay roofs hold the day's warmth, courtyards release it gently into the night air, and shallow pools reflect the moon without disturbance. In public baths, the final visitors leave quietly. Attendants close wooden shutters, and water rests in wide stone basins, its surface barely moving, holding the memory of the day's warmth. Nearby, laundries are rinsed in calm basins. Fabrics hang from lines stretched between columns, drifting slightly with the night breeze, each movement slow and deliberate. In temples and meeting halls, small channels guide rainwater away from steps and thresholds. The stone floors remain clean and dry, ready for morning footsteps. In libraries, fountains continue their gentle murmur. The sound moves through open doors and hallways, carrying calm into sleeping rooms. Engineers record measurements in quiet ledgers. Ink moves across parchment, noting water levels, seasonal patterns, and the slow shifting of underground currents. Their knowledge passes from teacher to student, from parent to child, never hurried, always patient. In distant hills, aqueducts stand in silence. Arches rise above valleys, their shadows stretching across fields and orchards. Water flows through their channels, crossing miles without effort, guided only by gravity and careful design. Farmers walk along irrigation lines, opening small gates carved from wood, allowing water to spread across terraces, touching soil with gentle persistence. Plants absorb the moisture, leaves remain cool, and the land feels cared for. In city gardens, small fish swim in shallow pools, keeping insects away, adding life to still water. Stone benches surround these pools, offering quiet places for rest and reflection. At dawn, sunlight touches rooftops, glinting off channels and basins, revealing a city shaped by subtle engineering rather than spectacle. People wake, wash hands in quiet basins, sweep courtyards with soft brooms, and begin the day in calm rhythm. The systems beneath their feet continue without pause, carrying water, removing waste, balancing heat and moisture, supporting life in silent cycles. Nothing calls attention to itself. Nothing interrupts the flow of daily life. The city remains peaceful, clean, and quietly sustained by knowledge that feels almost invisible. And so the centuries pass. Stones weather, pipes age, but the principles remain, simple, patient, and enduring. Water moves. People live. The city breathes. And in the gentle quiet of the night, everything feels held in place, steady, calm, and softly continuous. In distant regions beyond this city, other ancient cities rest beneath different skies, each shaped by quiet systems, each guided by the same gentle understanding of water, air, and earth. In a valley where a wide river bends slowly through flat plains, a city rises from baked brick and sunlit dust. The streets are laid out in careful grids, straight and orderly, with drainage channels built into every lane. Water flows through covered gutters, hidden beneath smooth stone slabs, moving away from homes without noise or disruption. Even in heavy rain, the streets remain calm and footsteps stay dry. In these homes, bathrooms sit beside sleeping rooms. Small brick platforms support clay jars filled with clean water, while sloped floors guide used water into narrow pipes. Each pipe leads to a larger system beneath the street, and each system connects to settling tanks outside the city walls. Here, the rhythm of daily life is quiet. People wake with the sunrise, wash in cool basins, and step into courtyards where plants grow in orderly beds. The air feels clear, the ground feels clean, and the systems beneath remain unnoticed. Far to the west, in cities built around seas and deserts, cisterns collect rainwater from roofs and courtyards. Stone channels guide droplets into underground chambers where the water rests in darkness, protected from heat and dust. These chambers are cool and silent. Columns rise from the floor to support vaulted ceilings, and the walls are coated with smooth plaster that keeps water fresh. In lantern light, reflections shimmer gently, creating patterns that move slowly across curved surfaces. Above, people draw water with buckets tied to ropes. The sound of rope against wood is soft, the splash of water gentle, the routine familiar and calm. In hillside towns, gravity carries water from mountain springs. Small aqueducts hug the contours of rock, sometimes carved directly into cliffs, sometimes built on simple arches that follow the land's shape. Water arrives at fountains in town squares where it spills into stone bowls and shallow pools. Children play nearby, elders sit on low steps, and travelers pause to drink and rest. The fountains never rush. They offer a constant, modest flow, enough to refresh the air and the people, without waste or spectacle. In medieval cities, narrow streets twist between tall buildings. Gutters run along the edges, catching rainwater and guiding it toward larger channels. Public wells sit at crossroads, their wooden covers creaking softly when lifted. Neighbors gather around these wells, sharing quiet conversations, passing buckets, and lowering ropes into the darkness below. In bathhouses, warm water circulates through stone pipes heated by simple furnaces. Floors remain warm beneath bare feet. Steam rises slowly, and voices echo in tiled rooms. People linger here, talking softly, resting in the gentle warmth, letting time move without pressure. In cities of the Islamic Golden Age, gardens are woven into the urban fabric. Channels divide courtyards into 4 sections, symbolizing balance and order. Water moves along these channels in narrow streams, touching flowers, trees, and grass with equal care. The sound of flowing water accompanies prayer, study, and rest. Scholars sit beside reflecting pools, writing by the light of lamps and stars, their thoughts unfolding slowly. In distant East Asian cities, canals thread through neighborhoods like calm ribbons. Boats glide quietly, carrying goods, people, and stories. Homes open directly onto the water, and wooden platforms extend over canals where residents wash dishes, rinse cloth, and sit in quiet contemplation. Bridges arch gently over these canals, their reflections forming perfect circles in still water. At night, lanterns glow along the banks, their light drifting across the surface like small, patient moons. In Mesoamerican cities, reservoirs capture rain from large plazas. Stone channels guide water into deep basins lined with clay and plaster to prevent leaks. During dry seasons, the stored water sustains crops and people alike. Farmers walk along raised fields, checking moisture levels, adjusting small channels with simple tools. The land remains productive, and the city remains calm, supported by careful planning rather than force. Across all these places, across centuries and continents, the same quiet principles repeat. Water is guided, waste is moved away, air is cooled, heat is balanced, and life is supported with subtle design. Engineers observe slopes, measure angles, and listen to the land. They choose materials that last, shapes that endure, and routes that follow natural paths. Their work rarely seeks attention. It simply functions, day after day, season after season. People grow accustomed to cleanliness, to fresh air, to reliable water. They come to expect peace and order without noticing the systems that make it possible. In the quiet of evening, cities settle into stillness. Water continues to flow beneath streets, through gardens, into fields, and back into rivers and seas. The cycle feels endless, gentle, and reassuring. And as you imagine these ancient cities, connected by invisible threads of engineering and understanding, you can feel the slow rhythm of human life, carried forward by patience, by observation, and by the quiet movement of water and stone. The world remains calm. The systems continue. Time moves softly onward. In quieter corners of these ancient worlds, small details reveal how deeply people cared for order and calm. In Roman towns, stone milestones stand beside roads, marking distances not just for travelers, but for maintenance crews who inspect underground pipes and drains. Beneath these roads, thick layers of gravel and sand absorb rain, preventing puddles and mud, keeping wheels and feet moving smoothly and quietly. Public latrines sit near bathhouses and marketplaces, their seats carved from smooth stone, their floors washed continuously by slow-running water channels. Fresh water flows in at one end, used water exits at the other, and the air remains surprisingly clean for such shared spaces. People enter, greet one another softly, and sit in calm routine, discussing daily matters without discomfort. The system feels natural, part of the city's steady rhythm. In smaller villages, simple wooden troughs carry spring water into central basins. Children fill clay cups, animals drink at lower channels, and excess water trickles into gardens and fields. Nothing is hurried, nothing is wasted. In mountain settlements, snowmelt is captured in carved stone cisterns. Channels guide meltwater into reservoirs built into rock. The water remains cool and pure, protected from sun and dust. Residents draw from these stores slowly, mindful of seasons, aware of the patient balance between nature and settlement. In coastal cities, seawater powers simple mills. Tides fill basins, and as water flows out, it turns wooden wheels that grind grain or lift fresh water from wells. The motion is gentle and predictable, following the quiet schedule of the moon. In desert towns, wind towers rise above rooftops. These tall structures capture breezes and guide them downward into living spaces. Air passes over shallow pools and wet cloth, cooling rooms without noise or machinery. Families sleep beneath these towers, feeling air move slowly across their skin, hearing the faint trickle of water below. In medieval monasteries, cloisters surround central gardens. Water channels circle these gardens, feeding herbs, flowers, and small fruit trees. Monks walk along covered paths, listening to water flow, their footsteps echoing softly on stone. In kitchens, large cauldrons are filled by gravity-fed pipes. Wastewater drains into herb gardens and orchards, nourishing plants that later return to the table. In Renaissance cities, engineers design public fountains as both decoration and utility. Behind carved statues and sculpted basins, complex valves regulate flow, ensuring pressure remains gentle and consistent. People gather here to fill jugs, to cool hands and faces, and to pause in the shade. In palace complexes, hidden corridors allow servants to move quietly with water and supplies. Underground corridors carry warm air, ventilation shafts release smoke, and concealed drains keep marble floors spotless. Visitors see only beauty and calm, never the layered systems beneath. In ancient marketplaces, vendors use running water to rinse stone counters. The water moves towards central drains where it disappears beneath decorative grates. The ground remains clean, the air remains light, and trade continues without disturbance. Across centuries, engineers learn from one another. Ideas travel with merchants, scholars, and travelers. A technique used in one city appears decades later in another, adapted to local materials and climates. A curved roof becomes a rainwater collector. A shaded courtyard becomes a cooling chamber. A gentle slope becomes a drainage system. Each small decision shapes daily life in quiet ways. People rarely notice these choices. They simply live within them, feeling comfort without understanding every reason. In the late evening, when streets empty and lamps burn low, the city's hidden networks continue their slow work. Water moves through pipes, air flows through vents, waste is carried away without sound. The city feels like a calm, steady presence, supporting its inhabitants without asking for attention. And as you drift through these scenes, moving from one place to another across time, you can sense how deeply human settlements have relied on gentle, thoughtful engineering. The systems are quiet, the effects are lasting, and the rhythm of life remains slow and balanced. The night deepens, the flow continues. Everything rests within a soft, enduring order. In small towns along winding rivers, wooden water wheels turn with unhurried grace, lifting water into elevated channels that stretch across fields and rooftops. The wheels creak softly, their rhythm steady and predictable. Like a slow heartbeat shared by the settlement, the lifted water travels through wooden flumes and stone troughs, passing over gardens, workshops, and courtyards. It spills into basins where people rinse tools, fills troughs where animals drink, and seeps into soil where vegetables grow in quiet rows. In winter, some channels are covered with wooden lids, keeping water from freezing too quickly. In summer, vines climb over the same channels, shading the flow and cooling it naturally. In large imperial cities, engineers design layered streets. The top layer is smooth stone for walking and carts. Beneath it lies gravel for drainage, and beneath that, large brick tunnels for water and waste. Rain falls, touches the stones, and disappears gently into hidden paths. Within moments, streets feel dry again, and footsteps continue without interruption. In palace gardens, intricate networks of channels divide lawns into geometric patterns. Water moves through these patterns like quiet lines of silver. It reflects sky, leaves, and passing clouds, creating a sense of endless space within enclosed walls. Visitors stroll slowly along these paths, pausing at pavilions where water flows beneath latticed windows. The air remains cool and the sound remains soft, encouraging long, thoughtful pauses. In desert cities, chanas run beneath the ground for many miles. These gently sloping tunnels bring mountain water to settlements far away. Vertical shafts open to the surface at intervals, allowing maintenance and letting cool air circulate. Above these hidden rivers, fields bloom unexpectedly green, and towns appear like quiet islands in sand. People walk along chanat lines, knowing that below their feet, water is traveling patiently through darkness. In northern cities, snowmelt is guided through carved channels along rooftops. Sloped tiles direct water into gutters that lead to underground cisterns. In spring, the stored meltwater is used to wash streets and water gardens. In monsoon regions, large stepped wells collect rainwater. Stone steps descend into deep chambers where water rests in shaded darkness. Travelers descend slowly, feeling the air grow cooler with each step, listening to echoes that linger in vast spaces. At the bottom, people sit beside still pools, drawing water, resting, and sharing quiet conversation. In coastal port cities, freshwater tanks are built into docks. Rainwater from warehouses and ships is collected in these tanks, ensuring sailors and merchants have supplies for long journeys. Saltwater and freshwater systems remain carefully separated. Engineers mark pipes with different stones and symbols, ensuring maintenance workers always know which channel they are touching. In scholarly cities, water clocks measure time by slow dripping. Each drop falls into a basin, marking hours without sound or urgency. Scholars glance at the rising level and continue their work calmly. In hospitals and healing houses, water flows through shaded courtyards. Patients rest near fountains, listening to the steady sound as part of their recovery. Clean water washes linens, tools, and hands, reducing illness without ceremony. In artisan quarters, tanners and dyers use water in controlled basins. Wastewater flows into separate channels that lead far from homes. These districts are placed downwind and downstream, keeping the rest of the city quiet and fresh. In distant temples, Sacred pools are kept clean by constant circulation. Hidden channels feed and drain these pools so the surface remains clear and reflective. Pilgrims approach slowly, touching the water with respect, feeling its coolness and calm. Across generations, children learn where pipes run, where channels curve, where drains open into larger tunnels. They grow up understanding the city as a layered space with life above and movement below. Maps are drawn not just of streets and buildings, but of underground paths, water sources, and ventilation shafts. The city becomes a quiet three-dimensional tapestry woven from stone, clay, wood, and flowing water. As evening settles, doors close gently, lanterns glow, and the sound of water becomes more noticeable in the stillness. Pipes hum faintly, channels whisper, wheels turn slowly in darkness. People sleep, unaware of the precise designs beneath them, yet fully supported by them. The systems continue their patient cycles, maintaining balance, preserving cleanliness, and shaping a peaceful daily life. Time moves on, centuries layering upon centuries, cities rising, cities fading, but the quiet principles of gentle engineering remain, steady, simple, and enduring. In quiet suburbs along the edges of cities, stone fountains stand in small plazas, their basins catching water from hidden aqueducts. Drops fall steadily, echoing softly against stone, and the sound spreads through narrow lanes and open courtyards alike. In houses nearby, shallow basins collect water for cooking and washing. Clay jars rest on low platforms, their surfaces cool from the gentle flow within. Women and men move slowly through rooms, hands brushing surfaces as they work, their steps measured, deliberate, and calm. Small workshops line the streets. Carpenters carve wood beside basins that rinse dust from tools. Potters shape clay on wheels, dipping hands into water before every turn. Weavers moisten threads carefully to prevent fraying, and the sound of water underpins every motion, soft and constant. Even streets leading away from the main plazas are carefully tended. Rainwater flows into grooves cut along edges, then disappears into hidden drains that guide it beyond homes and gardens. Stone remains smooth, dust is rare, and footsteps leave only faint impressions. In courtyard gardens, channels branch off from main pipes. Small fish swim quietly in shallow pools, keeping water clear, while herbs and flowers absorb gentle moisture from stone-lined beds. Birds perch on low walls, their calls soft, blending with the trickle of fountains. In distant hills, aqueducts rise like quiet arches over valleys. Water moves slowly through channels carved in stone. Some arches cast long shadows across fields, while others pass through tunnels, emerging into cities without a sound. Farmers walk alongside irrigation lines. They open small gates with careful hands, allowing water to spread across terraces, touching soil and roots with even patience. Plants grow evenly, harvests remain steady, and the land feels calm, cared for. Within palaces, hidden pipes carry water to kitchens, baths, and gardens. Staff move quietly through corridors, carrying vessels, adjusting flow, all without disturbing the residents above. In monasteries, cloisters surround gardens fed by underground channels. Monks walk slowly along paths, touching stone railings, listening to fountains, and pausing to observe leaves drifting on still water. Evening rituals include gentle washing of hands and feet. Water flows without rush, draining quietly into hidden channels, never pooling, never stagnant. In coastal towns, cisterns collect rain from rooftops. Stone steps descend into deep chambers. Lantern light glows on still water, and echoes rise softly from walls and ceilings. Sailors draw water for ships, residents collect for daily use, and the city's rhythm continues without haste. In desert cities, qanats carry water from distant mountains. These tunnels slope slowly downward, passing beneath sand and rock. Vertical shafts allow air to circulate, and the gentle flow reaches homes, gardens, and fields alike. Children grow up understanding the value of water, learning the paths it takes, how it nourishes plants, animals, and people. They learn patience and balance, watching water move without disturbance and noticing the quiet order it brings. In markets, basins and channels keep surfaces clean. Vendors rinse fruit and herbs, water moves toward hidden drains, and the ground remains dry beneath the soft morning sun. In hospitals and healing centers, water flows continuously through shaded courtyards. Patients rest beside small pools, listening to gentle ripples, finding comfort in the steady rhythm. In temples, water nourishes sacred pools. Pilgrims touch its surface quietly, noticing its coolness and clarity. Fountains murmur softly, echoing through corridors and courtyards, marking time without urgency. Even in large cities, complex networks of pipes, channels, and cisterns operate silently. Engineers walk beneath streets with lanterns, checking flow, listening to movement, ensuring everything continues without disruption. Above them, life carries on. People sleep, dream, and rise. Children play, farmers tend fields, artisans work, and the city flows around them, quiet, steady, and balanced. The night deepens. Lanterns glow across streets and courtyards. Water continues its slow journey through stone, clay, and metal. Everything feels held in place, supported by invisible hands and centuries of careful planning. And as the city rests, its rhythm, calm and patient, carries life forward. Day after day, century after century, without spectacle, without hurry, without interruption. In cities built along winding rivers, stone bridges arch gracefully across gentle currents. Water flows beneath them quietly, guiding small boats and carrying excess rain away from streets. The arches cast long shadows on the surface, softening edges and blending stone with reflection. Along riverbanks, narrow canals feed gardens and workshops. Small wooden gates control the flow, allowing artisans to fill basins without spilling, farmers to water seedlings with gentle care, and families to wash clothes without rushing. Stone walkways line these canals. They are slightly raised, so feet in carts move without slipping, and water trickles harmlessly below, unseen yet essential. In neighborhoods near markets, shallow drains guide spilled water from fruit and vegetable stalls. Clay jars store clean water for daily use. Vendors rinse their hands frequently, and the air remains light and pleasant. In temples and study halls, fountains serve more than decoration. They cool courtyards, provide fresh water, and offer a gentle rhythm that guides thoughts and footsteps. Scholars sit beside the pools, scrolls open before them, listening to water as it flows steadily through channels and basins. In mountain cities, aqueducts stretch across valleys and over cliffs. Each arch rises with quiet precision, carrying water from high springs to gardens, homes, and public baths. Travelers pause to admire the smooth curves of stone and the steady, invisible flow of life it delivers. Fields beyond the walls thrive on this water. Irrigation channels branch off gently from main conduits. Small wooden gates allow farmers to adjust flow to each plot, nourishing crops evenly without waste. The rhythm of planting and harvest follows this slow, deliberate cycle. In desert settlements, cadence run beneath sand and rock. These tunnels slope downward from distant mountains, bringing life-giving water across miles of arid land. Vertical shafts allow air to circulate, and light filters faintly into maintenance points. Above ground, palm trees and small gardens flourish. People walk slowly, knowing that below their feet, water moves patiently through darkness. In coastal towns, rainwater is collected in cisterns and tanks. Stone steps descend into shaded chambers, where water rests calm and cool. Lantern light reflects softly on the surface, casting shadows that move gently with each ripple. Sailors draw water quietly, residents fill clay jars, and the city continues its rhythm without hurry. In monastery cloisters, small channels circle gardens. Water nourishes herbs and fruit trees, reflecting sky and leaves in perfect stillness. Monks walk slowly along stone paths, their hands brushing railings, their ears attuned to fountains, and their eyes noticing how carefully everything has been arranged. In workshops, metal workers and potters rely on water for gentle cooling and shaping. Basins hold clean water, while drains carry used water away to prevent stagnation. Artisans move carefully, their hands immersed in rhythm with the quiet flow. Markets remain orderly, even at peak hours. Fountains provide drinking water. Channels under stalls guide rinse debris away. The stones of the streets remain smooth and steps echo softly without disturbance. Even in palaces, hidden networks of pipes and cisterns maintain gardens, kitchens, and baths. Servants move quietly along corridors carrying vessels, adjusting valves and ensuring life above proceeds without interruption. In hospitals and healing houses, water flows slowly through shaded courtyards. Patients rest beside pools, listening to soft ripples, feeling the calm in every drop. As night falls, lanterns glow across streets and canals. Reflections shimmer on still water. Footsteps are soft. Birds nest in quiet trees, and the city's hidden systems continue their gentle work, moving water, guiding air, removing waste, and supporting life without spectacle or noise. Above all this, people sleep. Dreams unfold gently. The rhythm of the city continues beneath them, steady, patient, enduring. Time moves softly onward. Seasons pass, centuries accumulate, but the calm engineering of water, stone, and care remains unchanged. Life flows within it, balanced, quiet, and serene. In the Indus Valley, centuries before many other cities, streets were laid with precision, wide enough for carts, yet sloped gently toward covered drains. Brick-lined channels carried water away from homes, leading it beyond city walls. Stone slabs formed lids for these drains, allowing people to walk above without noticing the flow beneath. Houses had private wells, and water was stored in large clay jars. Courtyards were open to the sky, but drains beneath them ensured that rainfall never lingered. Children played along these streets, bare feet brushing smooth stones, the sound of water moving quietly below only faintly perceptible. Public baths existed in some settlements. Water arrived through small channels, filled shallow pools, and left again through hidden exits. People washed and rested, the rhythm unhurried, the space calm and orderly. Even in marketplaces, water was managed carefully. Overflow from washing produce traveled in narrow drains, never spreading into walking areas. Stone surfaces remained clean. Air remained light. In the cities of ancient Rome, engineering reached a grand scale. Aqueducts carried water from distant hills into cities. Arches rose above valleys. Channels curved gently across landscapes, and gravity guided the flow without engines or force. At street level, fountains provided drinking water. Public baths received constant inflow and outflow. Sewers carried waste away quietly, hidden beneath roads, ensuring that streets, courtyards, and homes remained fresh. In villas, private baths and gardens benefited from the same systems. Water moved through tiled channels, filled pools, drained away without disruption. The sound of flowing water accompanied meals, study, and rest. In medieval Islamic cities, ingenious systems balanced water supply, waste removal, and air cooling. Canals brought mountain water to dry plains. Fountains, pools, and irrigation channels spread it throughout neighborhoods. Public baths offered warmth and calm, while underground cisterns stored water safely for dry months. Garden courtyards became sanctuaries, where water flowed in quiet geometric patterns, reflecting light and sky, softening the day and soothing the mind. In East Asian cities, canals threaded through neighborhoods like silver ribbons. Homes opened onto the water. Wooden platforms extended over canals, where people washed utensils, soaked cloth, or simply sat in reflection. Bridges arched gently over these waterways, their reflections forming circles in the still surface. Lanterns hung along the banks, casting gentle light that moved with the faintest breeze. In Mesoamerican cities, reservoirs and channels captured rainwater. Stepped pools held water for households, farms, and ritual spaces. During dry seasons, stored water kept life steady. Fields grew evenly. People walked along elevated canals, knowing that below them, water traveled patiently, carefully, unseen. In distant northern towns, snowmelt was guided through rooftop channels into cisterns. Stone steps and sloped floors carried it carefully, and stored water nourished gardens and daily life. Nothing rushed, nothing overflowed, and even in cold months, systems remained reliable. In palace complexes across the world, hidden networks supplied baths, kitchens, and gardens. Servants moved silently along corridors, carrying vessels, opening valves, maintaining the calm flow of water above. In hospitals, healing houses, and monasteries, quiet channels circulated water to nourish plants, cool rooms, and wash hands. The sound of flowing water accompanied rest, study, and prayer, marking time without urgency. Even when storms arrived, floods were rare. Engineers had designed channels, basins, and reservoirs carefully, so that excess rainwater was collected, stored, and redirected. The city continued without rush. People slept, rose, worked, and played. Water flowed, air moved, waste traveled away. And through it all, the rhythm remained slow, steady, enduring. The hidden engineering of these ancient cities created spaces where life could continue calmly. Centuries of care flowing quietly beneath feet, through stone, clay, wood, and earth, supporting harmony, order, and peace without spectacle in Roman provinces. Small towns mirrored the same careful planning found in cities. Narrow streets sloped subtly, allowing rainwater to flow into covered drains. Stone slabs formed lids for the channels so people could walk without noticing the water beneath their feet. Homes had cisterns and wells, often shared between a few households. Courtyards collected rain from roofs, channeling it through shallow basins into underground storage. Clay jars held water for cooking and washing, and every drop was used thoughtfully. Children played in the open streets, bare feet brushing smooth stone. The faint sound of flowing water moved below them, unnoticed yet always present, marking the pulse of the city. In medieval European towns, streets were sometimes narrow, lined with timber-framed houses that leaned slightly toward the street. Drains ran along the edges, hidden beneath carved stone or wooden planks. Rainwater and used water from households moved gently into these channels, keeping the street level clean, dry, and orderly. In public squares, fountains cooled the air. Water spilled into stone basins, reflecting sunlight during the day and lanterns at night. Merchants washed produce at the edges of the fountains. Children splashed softly, and the air remained fresh and light. Monastic communities were careful to balance work, prayer, and cleanliness. Cloisters surrounded gardens, fed by narrow channels. Water moved continuously, nourishing herbs, fruit trees, and flowers. Monks walked slowly along covered walkways, their footsteps echoing softly on stone, their eyes following the gentle path of flowing water. In desert settlements of the Middle East, canots carried water from distant mountains. These underground channels sloped ever so gently, allowing water to reach towns and fields far from natural springs. Vertical shafts provided air and access for maintenance, and the flow remained slow, consistent, and quiet. Above ground, small gardens flourished. Date palms, vegetables, and herbs thrived in the carefully irrigated soil. People moved slowly, aware that water traveled unseen beneath them, sustaining life quietly, continuously. In coastal ports, cisterns collected rainwater from rooftops. Steps led down into shaded chambers where water rested cool and calm. Lantern light reflected softly on the surface, casting gentle ripples across the stone walls. Sailors and townspeople drew water carefully, and the rhythm of daily life continued without disturbance. The hidden systems carried on their patient work, supporting life above in a quiet, steady balance. In East Asian cities, canals served both transport and irrigation. Homes opened directly onto the water. Wooden platforms extended over the surface, where residents washed cloth, prepared food, or sat in reflection. Bridges arched slowly over canals, their mirrored reflections forming perfect circles on the still water. Lanterns hung along the banks, casting warm, soft light that moved gently with each passing breeze. Public gardens thrived along these waterways. Water flowed in the basins and channels, touching every tree, flower, and grass patch with gentle precision. People rested, wrote, and strolled slowly, feeling the calm spread from water to stone to air. In Mesoamerican cities, stepped reservoirs captured rainwater. Stone channels guided the collected water to households, farms, and ritual spaces. During dry months, stored water kept crops alive, maintaining a subtle balance between human need and seasonal changes. Farmers walked along elevated canals, opening small gates to release water evenly across terraces. The irrigation followed a slow, patient rhythm, allowing life to flourish without waste or rush. In northern settlements, snowmelt was directed through rooftop channels into underground cisterns. The water nourished gardens, cooled living spaces, and ensured that daily life remained calm even in colder months. Stone steps and gentle slopes prevented overflow, and the stored water supported every home quietly and efficiently, even in grand palaces. Hidden networks carried water to kitchens, baths, and gardens. Servants moved silently through corridors, adjusting valves and moving vessels, maintaining the delicate balance above without disturbance. Hospitals, healing centers, and bathhouses relied on these systems to provide cleanliness and comfort. Water flowed continuously, nourishing plants, washing linens, and supporting life with a quiet, steady presence. At night, lanterns glimmered along streets, canals, and courtyards. Reflections shimmered on still water. Echoes of flowing channels carried softly through alleyways. People slept, children dreamed, and the cities rested within systems designed centuries before. Water continued its slow journey, moving through stone, clay, and wood, balancing heat, carrying waste, nourishing life, always present, always calm, and almost invisible to those it supported. Time passed softly. Centuries layered upon centuries. Cities rose, grew, and endured, and through all of it, the quiet engineering of water, channels, and careful planning remained, a patient heartbeat beneath human life, holding everything in gentle, unbroken order. In the heart of sprawling Roman towns, public baths remained quiet sanctuaries. Large stone basins held warm water, fed by channels that carried fresh water from distant aqueducts. Steam rose slowly from the pools, softening the edges of walls and ceilings. Visitors moved with measured steps, dipping hands or feet into still water, the subtle sound of movement blending with the gentle murmur of fountains. Courtyards surrounding these baths were shaded by colonnades. Sunlight filtered through pillars, casting long, soft shadows across smooth stone floors. Small channels traced geometric patterns along the ground, carrying away water from rinsed feet and basins, ensuring that no corner became stagnant or slippery. Behind the walls, engineers inspected the pipes. Lanterns cast flickering light over brick and lead joints. They listened to the flow, felt for leaks, and adjusted valves, all with slow, careful hands, aware that a single misaligned pipe could disturb the gentle balance above. In the suburbs, narrow streets were lined with houses built from stone and brick. Courtyards opened into small gardens. Clay jars collected rainwater from tiled roofs. Stone channels guided used water to hidden drains, keeping surfaces dry and streets clear. Children played quietly, their laughter softened by walls and distance, while the faint trickle of water beneath their feet created a subtle, continuous rhythm. Across the Mediterranean, cities along the coast managed both fresh and salt water. Cisterns collected rain from rooftops and courtyards, while aqueducts brought water from inland springs. Fountains and small basins offered drinking water to travelers and residents alike. Channels guided excess away from streets and plazas, and stone surfaces remained clean even after heavy rains. In palace gardens, water flowed in ornamental patterns. Shallow basins mirrored sky and trees, while channels carried it quietly to fountains or underground reservoirs. Pathways were arranged so visitors could walk without disturbing the delicate system, and shaded colonnades kept air and water cool throughout the day. In monastic cloisters, channels circled enclosed gardens. Herbs, fruit trees, and flowers thrived from the slow, consistent flow. Monks walked along covered paths, observing the water, listening to fountains, and pausing to notice leaves drifting on still surfaces. Workshops near these gardens relied on the same careful water systems. Potters soaked clay in shallow basins. Weavers moistened threads before weaving. Metalworkers cooled tools in flowing water, each drop moving predictably into hidden drains. Markets used gentle flows to maintain cleanliness. Stone surfaces stayed free of stagnant water. Vendors rinsed produce in basins fed by channels from fountains. Overflow traveled to drains hidden beneath grates or stones, never touching pathways, never interrupting movement. In desert settlements, canats carried mountain water across miles of arid land. These tunnels sloped so gently that water traveled without pumps or machinery. Vertical shafts allowed air to circulate and light faintly touched the underground passages. Above, gardens thrived, trees grew, and people moved slowly, knowing life beneath their feet was quietly supported. Coastal towns collected and stored rainwater in cisterns. Stone steps led into shaded chambers. Water rested cool and calm, reflecting lantern light that flickered softly on the walls. Sailors drew water carefully for long journeys, and residents collected what they needed for daily life. In East Asian cities, canals threaded neighborhoods like soft ribbons. Wooden platforms extended over water, allowing residents to wash utensils, prepare food, or sit in quiet contemplation. Bridges arched slowly, their reflections forming perfect circles in the still water. Lanterns hung along the banks, casting soft light across gentle ripples. Mesoamerican cities captured rainfall in stepped reservoirs. Stone channels guided water to fields, homes, and ritual spaces. During dry months, stored water ensured crops survived. Farmers walked slowly along canals, opening small gates to release water evenly, allowing plants to grow in quiet harmony with the seasons. Northern settlements guided snowmelt through rooftop channels. Water collected in underground cisterns, keeping gardens nourished and streets clean. Even in colder months, homes remained comfortable, supported by the hidden, patient work of channels and storage. Palaces relied on hidden networks of pipes and cisterns to carry water to baths, kitchens, and gardens. Servants moved silently, adjusting flow and carrying vessels, ensuring life above remained calm and orderly. Hospitals and healing houses flowed with the same quiet rhythm. Water nourished plants, washed linens, and cooled rooms. The soft sound of flowing water accompanied rest and recovery. Even as night deepened, lanterns glimmered across streets, courtyards, and canals. Reflections shimmered on the still surfaces. Footsteps echoed softly. Birds slept in hidden trees, and beneath it all, the city's systems continued, moving water, guiding air, removing waste, sustaining life with invisible, unhurried care. People slept, children dreamed, and the rhythm of these ancient cities continued, slow, steady, enduring. Time moved softly, centuries layered upon centuries. Cities rose, grew, and persisted, and beneath it all, the quiet engineering of water, stone, and human care held everything in patient, gentle order. As winter softens into spring, snow and ice slowly melt, trickling into carefully carved channels that feed cisterns, fountains, and gardens. The flow is measured, patient, never rushed. Stone and clay guide each drop, ensuring that water reaches fields, homes, and workshops without overflow or waste. In small villages nestled along hillsides, children watch as channels carry water past orchards and terraces. Farmers walk slowly behind them, opening wooden gates to release water evenly across each plot. The earth absorbs it gradually. Plants unfurl green leaves and tender shoots, and the air carries a faint scent of damp soil and fresh growth. Courtyards in larger cities follow similar rhythms. Rainwater collected from rooftops moves gently through stone channels, filling basins that nourish trees, flowers, and herbs. Citizens pause to wash hands or fill jars. Even simple tasks feel deliberate and calm, woven into the larger pulse of the city. Public baths awaken as the day begins. Stone floors remain cool under bare feet, Water flows steadily into pools, while waste drains quietly beneath, unseen. Visitors move slowly, dipping hands or feet, listening to soft ripples and the murmur of fountains. In palace gardens, channels trace intricate geometric patterns. Water glides through basins and along edges of stone paths, reflecting sky, leaves, and slow-moving clouds. Courtiers and attendants walk carefully, avoiding splashes, savoring the rhythm of life shaped by design rather than noise or haste. Monastic cloisters continue their quiet work. Water nourishes herb gardens and fruit trees. Monks walk along covered walkways, hands brushing smooth stone railings, eyes following fountains, pausing to notice leaves drifting on still water. Workshops nearby rely on the same calm systems. Potters dip clay into shallow basins. Weavers moisten threads to prevent fraying. Metal workers cool tools in flowing water. Each movement harmonizes with the quiet rhythm of channels and drains. In markets, water continues to maintain order. Vendors rinse produce in shallow basins, overflow moving into hidden drains. The streets remain clean, paths clear, and life carries on without interruption. Desert settlements rely on channels to bring water from distant mountains. Tunnels slope slowly downward, and vertical shafts allow air and access for maintenance. Above ground, gardens thrive. Trees bear fruit. Children play in shaded courtyards. Every step is measured, every drop of water guided with care. Coastal towns collect rainwater in cisterns. Steps lead into shaded chambers. Lantern light glimmers softly on the water's surface. Sailors draw water slowly for long voyages. Residents fill jars for daily life. All moves with quiet efficiency. In East Asian cities, canals thread neighborhoods like silver ribbons. Wooden platforms extend over water, allowing residents to wash utensils, sew cloth, or sit quietly in contemplation. Bridges rise gently above the water, their reflections forming circles in the still surface. Lanterns hang along the banks, casting soft, warm light that drifts across gentle ripples. Mesoamerican cities hold rainwater in stepped reservoirs. Stone channels guide water to fields, homes, and ritual spaces. Farmers open small gates, releasing water evenly across terraces. Crops grow in quiet harmony with the seasons, and life continues at a steady, calm pace. Northern settlements guide snowmelt through rooftop channels. Water flows into underground cisterns, keeping gardens nourished and streets clear. Even in the cold months, life proceeds calmly, supported by patient, invisible systems. Palaces rely on hidden networks of pipes and cisterns. Servants move silently, adjusting valves and carrying vessels. Baths, kitchens, and gardens all remain supplied without disruption. Hospitals and healing houses benefit from the same quiet rhythms. Water nourishes plants, washes linens, and cools rooms. The gentle sound of flowing water accompanies rest and recovery. As night deepens, lanterns glow across streets, canals, and courtyards. Reflections shimmer on still surfaces. Footsteps echo softly. Birds nest in quiet trees, and beneath it all, hidden networks continue their slow work, moving water, guiding air, and carrying away waste. The city rests, people sleep, children dream, and the rhythm of life persists slow, patient, and unbroken. Time flows softly. Centuries layer upon centuries. Cities rise, flourish, and endure. And beneath it all, the quiet engineering of water, stone, clay, and care sustains life in gentle, invisible harmony. As twilight fades completely into night, courtyards grow darker, fountains catch the last glimmers of lantern light, and rooftops cool under a soft, still sky. In small homes, families move quietly. Clay jars and stone basins are filled with water collected from rooftop channels or nearby wells. Hands rinse dishes, hands wash gently, and the water carries away the day's residue into hidden drains that lead to gardens or underground chambers. Every motion is slow and deliberate, calmly reinforcing the rhythm that guides the city. In palace kitchens, servants move in careful sequence. Pots are washed in flowing water, the excess funneled into channels leading to nearby gardens. Stone floors remain dry. Air smells faintly of herbs and cooked grains, and the soft patter of water mingles with muted conversation. Monastic cloisters are quiet at night, but water still flows through channels in gardens and courtyards. Herbs, fruit trees, and flowers drink patiently. Leaves tremble slightly in the gentle breeze, and the reflective surfaces of pools mirror the stars above. Monks walk slowly through covered corridors, their steps echoing softly, their hands brushing smooth stone as they pause to look at the calm water. In larger cities, public fountains take on a meditative quality. Night air is cooler, and water reflects lanterns and moonlight in soft, moving patterns. People returning from late errands pause, touching the cool stone, listening to the faint murmurs of flowing channels. The sound is steady, predictable, and quietly comforting. Market districts, emptied of the day's bustle, remain organized thanks to hidden drains. Stone floors are dry. Channels continue to carry any remaining water safely away. Merchants and children long gone. The air feels calm, fragrant with lingering scents of herbs and cooked grains. In desert towns, qanats continue to deliver water from distant mountains. Even in the stillness of night, the flow never stops. Vertical shafts allow the air to circulate, and gentle ripples echo faintly in underground passages. Above ground, palm trees sway slowly, their leaves whispering in the night breeze. People sleep, knowing that life continues below quietly, continuously. Coastal cisterns collect moonlight as well as rain, their cool surfaces reflecting gentle shadows. Lanterns flicker softly, and the water waits patiently, ready to serve the city in the coming day. Sailors, now at rest, draw from the same calm reserves in the morning, their daily routines synchronized with centuries of quiet engineering. East Asian canal cities at night are serene. Lanterns hang along wooden bridges, casting warm, gentle light across still water. Residents drift along platforms, washing utensils or simply sitting, watching ripples move slowly beneath their hands. Bridges arch gracefully, mirroring themselves in the calm surfaces below, and every movement is absorbed into the rhythm of the city. In Mesoamerican towns, reservoirs and channels hold water from daytime rains. Stone steps descend into still pools. Even in darkness, the water is calm and reflective. Farmers rest nearby, knowing that crops are nourished by carefully controlled releases. The slow, even movement of water ensures life continues without disruption. Northern towns guide melting snow through gentle slopes into underground cisterns. Basins collect slowly, keeping gardens hydrated and streets clear. Even as cold winds brush rooftops, life continues in quiet, unhurried fashion. In palaces, servants move along hidden corridors. Pipes, valves, and cisterns are checked carefully. Baths are prepared for the morning. Gardens are watered. No noise disturbs the residents above, but every system is monitored with patient attention, ensuring continuity and calm. Hospitals and healing centers echo the same slow, deliberate rhythm. Water nourishes plants and herbs used for treatment. Linens are washed and dried. Rooms remain fresh, and the faint sound of flowing water brings comfort to those who rest. Through centuries, the night deepens, and hidden systems continue their quiet work. Water flows steadily through channels, pipes, and drains. Stone, clay, and wood hold it, guide it, and protect it. Life above carries on with barely a notice of these gentle networks, yet all is supported, nourished, and balanced. Time moves softly onward. Seasons change, years layer into decades, and through all of it, the quiet engineering that keeps cities peaceful, clean, and balanced endures. Slow, patient, unseen, it forms the gentle heartbeat beneath human life, allowing dreams to flourish and daily routines to unfold calmly. As the first light of dawn brushes over rooftops, courtyards are bathed in a pale, gentle glow. Fountains reflect the soft colors of the sky, and channels carry the night's collected water quietly onward. Stone and clay, polished by centuries, shine faintly, highlighting the delicate patterns of ancient craftsmanship. In homes, families begin to stir slowly. Clay jars are lifted from cool basins. Water is poured carefully into cooking pots, and the soft sounds of flowing water accompany the gentle rustle of linens and clothing. Children move barefoot across smooth stone floors, their steps careful, mindful of the rhythm beneath them. In the streets, early risers open doors and windows. Water collected from rooftops or nearby channels flows into small basins, providing a gentle rhythm to the beginning of the day. Courtyards glimmer with dew, and narrow alleys carry the faint smell of damp stone and earth. In palace kitchens, servants begin their careful routines. Pots are rinsed, surfaces wiped with soft cloths, and water flows steadily into channels that lead to hidden drains or gardens. Stone floors remain dry, air carries the faint aroma of bread or herbs, and every movement is deliberate, slow, and calm. Monastic cloisters awaken quietly. Water channels nourish herb gardens, fruit trees, and flowers. Monks walk along covered corridors, pausing at fountains to let water ripple softly beneath their hands. The reflections of morning light on still pools create a sense of infinite calm. Workshops begin their day with measured preparation. Potters dip clay into basins. Weavers moisten threads before weaving. Metalworkers cool tools in flowing water. Every drop moves predictably through hidden channels, ensuring cleanliness and order. Markets stir with gentle energy. Vendors set up stalls, rinsing fruit and vegetables in flowing water. Stone channels guide excess away quietly. Merchants and early shoppers move slowly, hearing only the subtle hum of water beneath their feet, the faint ripple of fountains, and the soft murmur of conversation. In desert settlements, cadence continue to bring water from distant mountains. The flow is steady, calm, and unseen. Palm trees sway in the morning breeze. Small gardens glimmer with dew. Children watch water trickle from channels into basins, learning from an early age how life depends on patience and care. Coastal towns awaken to the rhythm of collected rainwater. Cisterns hold the cool, calm reserves of night. Residents draw water carefully for cooking, washing, and preparing ships for the day ahead. The reflection of morning light dances gently on still surfaces. Every action is slow, deliberate, and harmonious with the systems beneath. In East Asian canal cities, boats drift silently along calm water. Wooden platforms extend over canals. Residents wash cloth and utensils, or pause to watch gentle ripples move across the surface. Bridges rise gracefully above canals, mirrored perfectly below in soft, still water. Lanterns may remain from night, casting warm, fading light, blending seamlessly with the pale morning sun. Mesoamerican stepped reservoirs glisten in early light. Stone channels guide water to fields and households. Farmers open small gates to release water slowly and evenly across terraces. Plants unfurl leaves and roots drink carefully, and the day begins in balance without rush or excess. Northern settlements direct snowmelt through gentle rooftop channels, cisterns collected, keeping streets dry and gardens nourished. Residents move along stone paths, aware of the quiet, patient support beneath their feet. Palaces come alive softly. Servants move through hidden corridors, adjusting valves, carrying vessels, preparing baths and gardens for the day. Everything flows without disturbance, and life above continues in calm order. Hospitals and healing houses awaken. Water nourishes medicinal herbs. Linens are washed in steady basins. Rooms are aired gently. Patients rest beside pools, listening to the quiet ripple, finding comfort in the rhythm that surrounds them. Even in streets and neighborhoods, hidden drains and channels guide water silently. Rainwater or leftover wash flows without interruption, keeping pathways dry and air fresh. Children chase each other softly. Farmers tend crops in measured steps, and the city moves in its steady, invisible rhythm. 2 centuries, as seasons shift from spring to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter, the hidden systems remain constant. Water flows, air circulates, waste moves away. Life continues slowly, calmly, and beautifully supported. The pulse of the city is quiet, almost imperceptible, but steady. Stone, clay, wood, and water work together, sustaining life across generations, without spectacle, without urgency, without interruption. Even as the sun climbs high, lanterns fade and shadows shorten. The gentle rhythm of these ancient systems continues. People live, work, rest, and dream within the balance created centuries before. And beneath all of it, unseen, water, stone, and care maintain a harmony so subtle that it feels like the city itself is breathing slowly, softly, and endlessly. As the sun rises higher, streets glow softly in its light. Stone surfaces warm gradually, but shaded courtyards and fountains provide relief. Water flows steadily through channels, cooling surfaces, nourishing plants, and maintaining balance without urgency. In small workshops, artisans move with slow precision. Potters shape clay on wheels, dipping hands in water from basins connected to hidden channels. Weavers moisten threads carefully, ensuring fibers remain strong. Metalworkers cool tools in flowing water, the gentle hiss of heat meeting liquid blending into the calm hum of the city. In market squares, sunlight illuminates stone fountains. Vendors rinse herbs and vegetables in shallow basins, and any overflow moves quietly into hidden drains. Footsteps echo softly on smooth stone as shoppers and stallholders carry out their routines with deliberate care. Children play nearby, their laughter gentle and measured, never disturbing the steady flow of life. In palace gardens, water circulates through ornamental channels, pools mirror the sky, fountains ripple quietly, and shaded walkways allow residents to stroll without disrupting the flow. Courtiers pause to admire the calm reflection of trees and stone, savoring the serenity created by centuries of careful design. Monastic cloisters continue to thrive. Herbs, flowers, and fruit trees drink from narrow channels that feed shaded courtyards. Monks walk slowly along covered paths, pausing to touch stone railings or observe leaves drifting on calm water. The rhythm of flowing water matches their own slow, deliberate movements, reinforcing a sense of continuity and balance. In desert towns, quantity to bring water from distant springs. The flow remains slow and steady, moving beneath rooftops, streets, and gardens. Above ground, palm trees sway gently, and small gardens glisten with dew or morning sunlight. Residents move carefully, aware that life depends on the patient journey of water below. Coastal cisterns hold water collected from rainfall. Stone steps descend into shaded chambers where cool surfaces reflect the early sun. Sailors draw water slowly for cooking and preparation. Residents fill clay jars, and the day begins gently, supported by centuries of hidden engineering. In East Asian canal cities, boats drift softly along calm water. Residents wash cloth, rinse utensils, or sit quietly on wooden platforms. Bridges rise gracefully over canals, mirrored in still water below. The soft rustle of leaves and the faint murmur of water create a serene soundscape, blending perfectly with the city's measured rhythm. Mesoamerican stepped reservoirs shine in morning light. Stone channels guide water to fields, homes, and ritual spaces. Farmers open small gates to release water gradually across terraces. Plants grow evenly, and the day unfolds without rush or disruption. Northern settlements channel snow melt carefully through rooftop slopes. Water fills underground cisterns, keeping gardens hydrated and streets dry. Residents move along paths with quiet mindfulness, conscious of the patient system supporting daily life. Palaces and large homes rely on hidden networks of pipes and cisterns. Servants move silently, adjusting valves and carrying vessels, preparing baths, kitchens, and gardens without disturbing the residents above. Hospitals, bathhouses, and healing centers maintain the same careful balance. Water nourishes plants, washes linens, cools rooms, and provides gentle, constant background rhythm for recovery and rest. Even in streets and alleys, water flows quietly through hidden channels. Rainwater and household waste are guided away unobtrusively. Paths remain dry and clean. Children play softly. Farmers tend crops. Artisans work, all supported by the slow, patient pulse of the city's engineering. As the day continues, shadows shift and sunlight warms stone and earth. Fountains sparkle in soft, steady streams. Pools reflect trees, rooftops, and sky. Air moves gently through narrow alleys and open courtyards, and through it all, hidden networks of water, stone, and care sustain life calmly and continuously. Even as noon arrives and activity peaks, the rhythm remains unbroken. The city breathes slowly. People live and work. Water flows. Air circulates. Life continues, balanced, serene, and unhurried. Time moves softly. Days become weeks. Weeks become months become years. And beneath every street and every courtyard, behind every wall, the patient, invisible work of ancient engineering endures. It holds the city together, supporting life quietly, without spectacle, without urgency, without interruption. As afternoon stretches on, the sun casts longer shadows across streets, courtyards, and canals. Stone and brick surfaces warm gently under the light, but shaded areas and flowing water keep the air cool and soft. Fountains continue their steady murmurs, ripples reflecting sunlight in delicate patterns that move slowly across smooth stone. In workshops, artisans continue their careful routines. Potters dip hands into basins of water, gently molding clay into vessels. Weavers moisten threads and weave slowly, their motions harmonizing with the faint trickle of water beneath the floor. Metalworkers cool tools in small channels, watching as the water carries heat and impurities silently away. In marketplaces, the day is active but calm. Vendors wash produce in shallow basins. Overflow travels quietly through hidden drains. Footsteps echo softly across worn stone. Conversations are measured, and the rhythm of exchange flows alongside the gentle current of fountains and channels. Children watch the movement of water, learning by observing how life continues smoothly, quietly, without interruption. In palace gardens, water continues its precise journey. Ornamental channels carry pools from one basin to the next. Fountains ripple softly. Pathways curve around shaded trees and flowering shrubs, and attendants walk slowly, ensuring each element of the garden is nourished. The reflections of stone, sky, and leaves ripple together, creating a sense of serenity that moves gently through the garden. Monastic cloisters maintain their quiet rhythm. Narrow channels nourish plants in shaded courtyards. Monks walk along stone paths, pausing occasionally to touch the cool railings or watch the still water. Herbs, flowers, and fruit trees drink from these slow flows, and the air carries a faint scent of damp earth and green growth. In desert towns, qanats continue to deliver water beneath rooftops and streets. The flow is constant, slow, and invisible. Above ground, palm trees sway lightly. Gardens glisten with residual dew, and residents move carefully, knowing life depends on these patient, hidden channels. Coastal settlements continue to draw from cisterns where water collected overnight remains cool and calm. Residents fill jars for cooking and washing, and sailors prepare vessels with measured care. The reflection of sunlight dances softly across the still surfaces, bringing quiet life to streets and courtyards alike. East Asian canal cities hum gently with activity. Wooden platforms over canals support quiet movement. Residents wash utensils, sew cloth, or sit in reflection. Bridges arch gracefully above canals, their mirrored reflections forming soft circles in still water. Lanterns from the early morning fade gently as sunlight spreads across the city, blending with the serene rhythm of flowing channels. In Mesoamerican towns, reservoirs and stepped pools hold water collected from rains. Stone channels release water carefully across fields and homes. Farmers open gates slowly, letting water nourish terraces evenly. The rhythm of irrigation supports daily life, allowing crops to grow in harmony with the seasons, without waste, without rush, without disruption. Northern towns manage snowmelt with patience. Rooftop channels guide water into cisterns. Basins remain full, gardens hydrated, streets dry. Residents walk slowly along stone paths, conscious of the hidden systems that quietly sustain life around them. Palaces continue their delicate balance. Servants move silently through corridors, adjusting valves, carrying vessels, preparing baths and kitchens, ensuring life above proceeds without disturbance. Water nourishes gardens, cools rooms, and sustains comfort. Hospitals and bathhouses follow the same steady rhythm. Water flows through basins, channels, and pools. Herbs are watered for treatment, linens washed, rooms cooled. Patients rest quietly, soothed by the constant, gentle presence of flowing water. Even streets and neighborhoods maintain their calm. Rainwater and waste move unobtrusively through hidden drains. Stone pathways remain dry. Children play softly. Farmers tend crops, artisans work, and the city hums along a slow, unbroken rhythm. As the sun begins to dip toward the horizon, shadows lengthen further, air cools, and the reflection of the sky on pools and canals deepens. Fountains ripple gently, channels carry water quietly beneath streets and buildings. The city begins its subtle transition into evening. Evening chores move slowly. Families finish washing, preparing meals, and arranging courtyards. Merchants tidy stalls, rinsing surfaces one last time before night falls. Courtyards are swept, stones smooth, plants watered. Every movement honors the balance maintained by hidden networks of water and stone. The city exhales. Lanterns glow faintly. Pools reflect firelight, stone, and trees. Footsteps are soft. Birds nest quietly in trees. And beneath it all, water continues its patient journey. Life proceeds calmly, supported invisibly by centuries of careful engineering, stone, clay, wood, and water flowing together, ensuring peace, cleanliness, and balance without spectacle or interruption. As the sun sets completely, the city exhales into stillness. Stone streets grow cool beneath the fading light, courtyards fall into gentle shadow, and water continues its quiet, measured flow through channels, basins, and underground drains. Lanterns begin to glow softly along streets, bridges, and courtyards. Their reflections shimmer on fountains and pools, casting slow, moving patterns across stone surfaces. Even the smallest channels catch faint light, highlighting the careful craftsmanship that guides water unseen. In homes, families finish evening tasks with calm movements. Clay jars are refilled from basins. Water is poured into cooking pots or washing areas, then returned to hidden channels. Children move quietly across smooth stone floors, while the faint murmur of water beneath reminds everyone of the patient system supporting daily life. In workshops, artisans finish work at a deliberate pace. Potters gently smooth clay vessels. Weavers align threads with care. Metal workers allow heated tools to cool in flowing water. Every drop travels predictably through hidden channels, keeping floors dry and air fresh, while life above continues gently and unhurriedly. Marketplaces empty slowly. Stone surfaces are rinsed with gentle flows from shallow basins. Overflow travels quietly to drains beneath the streets. Footsteps echo softly, fading into the quiet hum of night. Fountains murmur softly, and the air carries the faint scent of herbs, earth, and washed stone. In palace gardens, water moves precisely through ornamental channels. Pools mirror moonlight and lanterns. Fountains ripple slowly, soft arcs of water falling in quiet, predictable patterns. Attendants walk along paths with measured steps, ensuring every basin, channel, and plant is cared for. Monastic cloisters are bathed in soft shadow. Water nourishes herbs, fruit trees, and flowering shrubs. Monks walk slowly along corridors, their hands brushing smooth stone railings, pausing occasionally to watch gentle ripples on still pools. Even in silence, the rhythm of water marks the passage of time with quiet grace. In desert settlements, canats carry water from distant mountains beneath rooftops and streets. The flow remains slow, patient, and constant. Palm trees sway gently in the night breeze. Gardens glisten faintly with residual moisture. Residents sleep with confidence, aware that life continues uninterrupted by these hidden channels. Coastal towns draw from cisterns filled with collected rainwater. Stone steps descend into cool, shaded chambers. Lanterns illuminate the water's surface softly. Residents fill jars or leave water for morning use. Everything moves in quiet harmony, guided by centuries of thoughtful design. In East Asian canal cities, boats drift softly along calm water. Wooden platforms extend over canals. Residents wash cloth, rinse utensils, or sit in quiet contemplation. Bridges rise gracefully over water, mirrored perfectly below. The faint hum of ripples accompanies the soft sounds of night. A bird settling, a leaf falling, a lantern flickering. Mesoamerican steppe reservoirs hold collected water quietly. Stone channels guide it to homes and fields. Farmers have long retired for the night. Terraces remain hydrated, crops nourished. Every gate, every channel, every pool operates in silent, patient balance. Northern settlements continue to manage snowmelt with care. Water flows from rooftops into cisterns. Gardens remain nourished. Streets dry. Residents sleep within homes warmed by careful planning, supported by invisible systems that have endured across generations. Palaces maintain their quiet pulse. Servants move slowly along hidden corridors, adjusting valves, carrying vessels, and ensuring baths, kitchens, and gardens are ready for the morning. No noise disrupts the occupants above. Water flows softly, continuously, without spectacle. Hospitals and healing centers remain calm. Water nourishes medicinal herbs. Linens dry in shaded spaces. Rooms are aired gently. Patients rest, soothed by the constant murmur of water, supported by centuries of unseen engineering. Even streets, alleys, and courtyards continue their hidden work. Rainwater and household waste travel quietly through stone channels and clay pipes. Paths remain dry. The city sleeps enveloped in gentle balance. Children dream. Birds rest. And beneath it all, water flows steadily, supporting life without attention or urgency. Moonlight filters through roofs and courtyards, casting soft, pale reflections across basins, fountains, and smooth stone floors. Shadows move slowly with the passing breeze. Leaves stir faintly in the trees. Every element of the city's design works together seamlessly. Stone, clay, wood, and water create harmony. Centuries layer softly upon centuries. Cities grow, evolve, and endure. Through all of it, the patient work of hidden engineering remains, holding life in gentle rhythm, ensuring cleanliness, calm, and continuity, without spectacle, without rush, without interruption. Even as the deepest night surrounds every street, courtyard, and canal, the city breathes quietly. Water flows, air circulates. Stone and clay hold it all in balance. Life continues, slow, patient, and steady, like a heartbeat beneath centuries of human existence. As midnight settles over the city, a stillness envelops streets, courtyards, and canals. Lanterns flicker faintly, casting long, soft shadows across stone floors and tiled roofs. Fountains continue their gentle murmurs, rippling quietly as if breathing alongside the sleeping city. Homes are dark and quiet. Families sleep, children curl beneath blankets, and water moves unobtrusively through hidden channels beneath floors, along walls, and into underground cisterns. Every drop travels steadily, carried by stone, clay, and wood, its journey measured and patient. In workshops, the day's tools rest. Clay wheels sit still. Threads hang softly from looms. Metal tools cool in the gentle flow of water. The quiet hum of channels and basins fills the space, soothing the air with the constant, rhythmic pulse of life. Marketplaces are empty and serene. Stone surfaces glisten faintly under the moonlight. Shallow basins continue to carry residual water, overflow slipping silently into hidden drains. The streets are clean. Air carries the scent of damp earth and herbs, and the city rests in careful balance, unnoticed yet perfectly maintained. Palace gardens breathe quietly. ornamental pools mirror stars and lanterns. Channels carry water slowly from one basin to the next. Fountains ripple softly. Air is cool and fragrant, and attendants move gently, ensuring that the flow continues uninterrupted. Monastic cloisters lie in soft shadow. Herbs, flowers, and fruit trees drink patiently from narrow channels. Monks sleep or meditate, their movements slow and deliberate, echoing the measured rhythm of water and stone. Even the faint rustle of leaves seems to follow the calm current beneath the surface. Desert towns rely on kennets that flow quietly beneath rooftops and streets. The water carries life from distant springs. Palm trees sway softly in the night breeze. Gardens glisten faintly with dew, and residents rest peacefully, aware that life continues below without effort. Coastal settlements draw water slowly from cisterns. Stone steps descend into shaded chambers, cool water reflecting faint moonlight. Residents sleep, sailors rest, and the gentle rhythm of water ensures the city is ready for the coming day. East Asian canal cities rest under a soft night sky. Wooden platforms over calm water are empty. Bridges rise above mirrored canals, reflected perfectly below in still surfaces. Lanterns sway gently in the breeze, their light rippling softly across water. The quiet murmur of channels accompanies the city's breath, a slow, constant, invisible pulse. Mesoamerican reservoirs hold water silently. Stone channels guide it evenly to terraces and homes. Farmers rest, children dream, and the terraces remain nourished, crops thriving in harmony with patient, deliberate irrigation. Every gate, every channel, every reservoir operates with quiet precision. Northern settlements continue to manage snowmelt through rooftop channels. Basins fill slowly and silently. Gardens remain hydrated. Streets stay dry. Residents rest in homes warmed by careful planning, while unseen systems maintain calm, continuity, and comfort. Palaces remain alive with invisible movement. Servants move quietly through hidden corridors, adjusting valves, carrying vessels, and checking cisterns. Baths, kitchens, and gardens are maintained without disturbance. Everything flows seamlessly, preparing for the morning while the city sleeps. Hospitals, bathhouses, and healing centers remain calm. Water nourishes medicinal herbs. Linens dry in shaded areas. Rooms stay fresh. Patients rest, soothed by the faint murmur of channels, supported by centuries of careful, unseen engineering. Even streets and neighborhoods continue their quiet work. Rainwater and household waste move unobtrusively through drains. Paths remain clean and dry. Children dream. Farmers sleep. Artisans rest. And beneath it all, water flows steadily, carrying life forward in patient, invisible balance. Moonlight filters through rooftops, courtyards, and trees. Soft reflections shimmer across pools and stone surfaces. Every shadow, every leaf, every ripple participates in the rhythm. Stone, clay, wood, and water create a harmony so subtle it feels like the city itself is breathing. Centuries pass quietly. Cities grow, endure, and change. Through it all, the patient, hidden work of water, channels, and careful planning remains. It sustains cleanliness, peace, and balance. Slowly, steadily, unnoticed, even in the deepest hours of night, the city continues its quiet rhythm. Water flows. Air circulates. Life rests within the gentle pulse of ancient engineering. Before the first birds stir, the city lies in a hushed, tranquil pause. Lanterns dim or extinguish, and pools and fountains mirror the pale, early light creeping over rooftops. Stone streets remain cool, and channels carry water quietly beneath courtyards, homes, and gardens. Every drop follows a slow, measured path, nourishing plants, washing surfaces, and sustaining life without a single disruption. In small homes, families begin to stir slowly. Clay jars are lifted from basins filled overnight. Water poured carefully into cooking pots or for washing. Children stretch and move across smooth stone floors, their movements soft and measured. The faint murmur of channels beneath accompanies their quiet motions, a gentle, invisible rhythm that guides the day before it begins. Workshops awaken with a deliberate pace. Potters touch cooled clay, dipping fingers into basins of flowing water before shaping new vessels. Weavers moisten threads gently, aligning them carefully across looms. Metalworkers immerse cooled tools in channels, watching as water carries away heat slowly and steadily. Each movement harmonizes with the patient flow beneath the floors, linking human work to the quiet pulse of the city. Market squares begin to prepare. Stone surfaces are rinsed with water, traveling through shallow channels. Overflow slips quietly into hidden drains beneath streets. Vendors set up stalls, arranging fruits, vegetables, herbs, and grains with calm precision. The faint sound of water trickling beneath echoes softly, accompanying the subtle movements of early shoppers. Palace gardens begin their day quietly. Water flows through ornamental channels from basin to basin. Fountains ripple slowly, mirroring the first light of dawn. Attendants walk along paths shaded by trees and flowering shrubs, ensuring every plant is nourished and every channel remains clear. The rhythm of water sets a gentle pace for the morning, softly guiding every motion above. Monastic cloisters awaken gradually. Herbs, flowers, and fruit trees drink from narrow channels in courtyards. Monks move along covered corridors, hands brushing stone railings, pausing to observe gentle ripples on still pools. Even in the soft morning light, the water continues its patient, steady journey, marking the passage of time with quiet grace. In desert towns, chenots bring water steadily from distant mountains. The flow beneath rooftops, streets, and gardens continues uninterrupted. Palm trees sway gently in the morning breeze. Gardens glisten faintly with dew. Residents step carefully across stone floors, knowing that life depends on the measured movement of water below. Coastal settlements draw from cisterns with care. Stone steps lead into shaded chambers, cool water reflecting the pale morning sun. Residents fill clay jars slowly for cooking and washing. Sailors prepare vessels for the day with deliberate movements, their routines in harmony with centuries of patient engineering. East Asian canal cities begin to awaken. Boats drift gently along calm water. Wooden platforms support residents washing cloth or utensils, or pausing to sit in reflection. Bridges rise gracefully over mirrored canals, the faint hum of rippling water blending with birdsong. Lanterns fade as the first rays of sunlight spread softly across the city. Mesoamerican reservoirs release water gently to fields and terraces. Farmers open small gates slowly, allowing water to nourish crops evenly. Children watch quietly as life moves deliberately through irrigation channels, learning the patient rhythm that supports the city's balance. Northern towns direct melting snow through rooftop channels. Basins fill slowly, keeping gardens hydrated and streets dry. Residents move carefully along stone paths, aware of the steady systems supporting daily life, unseen but essential. Palaces maintain their quiet, unbroken pulse. Servants move silently along hidden corridors, adjusting valves, carrying vessels, and preparing baths, kitchens, and gardens. Everything flows without disturbance, ensuring life above continues in calm, measured harmony. Hospitals, bathhouses, and healing centers awaken slowly. Water nourishes medicinal herbs. Linens are washed and dried in shaded areas. Rooms remain fresh. Patients rest, soothed by the faint, constant murmur of flowing water, supported by centuries of patient, unseen engineering. Even streets and neighborhoods continue their gentle work. Rainwater and household waste move silently through channels. Paths remain dry. Children play softly. Farmers tend crops. Artisans begin their work. And beneath it all, water flows steadily, carrying life forward in patient balance. As the sun rises fully, light warms rooftops, courtyards, and stone streets. Fountains sparkle. Pools reflect sky, stone, and trees. Air moves gently through alleys and open spaces, and through it all, hidden networks of water stone, and careful human attention maintain harmony, cleanliness, and calm, quietly sustaining life. Time flows softly. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. And through centuries, these hidden systems continue their slow, patient work, ensuring peace, order, and balance without spectacle or disruption. As the day slowly winds down, the city begins to settle once more. Sunlight softens and warms the stones, then gradually fades into the gentle embrace of evening. Shadows stretch across courtyards, streets, and gardens, softening edges and quieting sound. Fountains ripple quietly, mirroring the warm hues of the setting sun. Pools remain still, disturbed only by the occasional leaf drifting from a tree above. Every channel, basin, and cistern continues its steady work, carrying water gently, silently, and without need for attention. Families finish their meals, children stretch and yawn, and the city moves toward rest. Merchants close stalls slowly, tidying produce and arranging goods with soft, deliberate motions. Workshops quiet down. Potters pause their wheels. Weavers leave threads to rest. Metal workers place cooled tools gently along shelves. Palace gardens calm. Attendants pause along shaded paths, checking basins and channels one last time. Fountains ripple in the quiet air, their soft murmurs blending with distant bird calls and the faint rustle of leaves. Monastic cloisters fall silent. Herbs, flowers, and fruit trees drink from slow-moving channels. Monks walk slowly through courtyards, touching stone rails and pausing to notice ripples in pools. Even the wind seems to move deliberately, flowing through open corridors and shaded paths with quiet rhythm. Desert towns rest under a soft, star-filled sky. Canettes continue to carry water beneath rooftops and streets. Gardens glisten with dew. Palm fronds sway gently. Residents sleep, confident that life continues, supported by patient, unseen channels. Coastal cities hold still pools of water and shaded cisterns. Reflections of moonlight dance softly across stone steps and vessels. Sailors rest, jars are filled, and the rhythm of water continues quietly, carrying life forward without rush, without fuss, and without need for notice. East Asian canal cities drift into night. Wooden platforms are empty. Boats float gently in calm canals, and bridges mirror soft ripples below. Lanterns sway in the breeze, fading as moonlight spreads across the water. Every channel hums softly, a lullaby for streets, homes, and gardens alike. Mesoamerican step reservoirs shine in the gentle glow of evening. Water moves slowly, releasing nourishment to fields and terraces. Farmers rest. Children dream. Terraces, crops, and reservoirs maintain perfect balance. Everything moves with patience, with care, and with quiet understanding of time and nature. Northern towns guide melted snow through slow channels. Basins hold water for gardens. Streets remain dry, even as residents rest in homes warmed by careful planning. Hidden systems continue their gentle work beneath floors and rooftops. Palaces, hospitals, bathhouses, and public buildings settle. Servants move quietly, unseen, checking cisterns, carrying vessels, preparing the city for tomorrow. Everything is calm. Everything is balanced. Everything flows, invisible yet essential. The city exhales. Lanterns glow softly. Pools, channels, and fountains ripple gently. Leaves drift slowly through courtyards. Birds nest quietly in trees. Footsteps are soft and rare, and beneath it all, water flows steadily, carrying life, sustaining balance, and holding the world in gentle, continuous rhythm. Time stretches like a slow, calm river. Days turn to weeks, months, and years. Seasons shift quietly, but the rhythm of life endures. Stone, clay, wood, and water continue to guide and sustain human life. The hidden systems, patient and unhurried, ensure that cities remain peaceful, clean, and harmonious, century after century. And as the night deepens, the city sleeps fully, held gently in the quiet pulse of invisible care. Pools reflect the moonlight. Channels carry water without pause, and every street, garden, and home rests in perfect calm. Slowly, the world becomes softer. Edges blur, and shadows deepen. The gentle flow of water, the careful balance of stone and clay, and the quiet heartbeat of the city carry you with them, as if floating in a warm, endless current of calm. Let your mind rest here with the slow movement of fountains, channels, and hidden engineering. Everything is steady, everything is balanced, everything is serene. Breathe slowly. Let the rhythm of the city, invisible but constant, ease your thoughts. The gentle pulse of life beneath centuries of stone and water wraps around you like a soft, endless lullaby. And now, as the night stretches fully, as the city sleeps, and as the water flows steadily, allow yourself to drift completely, slowly, calmly, peacefully into a deep, restful sleep.